As the 2021 Stadium Series rolled into the heart of the South, the Monsters had more than just Georgia on their mind.
Got everybody excited!
With the track transformed into a style born almost 30 years ago, these 12 superstars found themselves floundering in the depths of muddy terrain. But like the near sold-out crowd, not every driver was intimidated by a little rain. As two brothers took advantage of their experience in the mud, the professor once again stepped in to strip them of another trophy. Will the veterans dominate at one of motorsport's legendary speedways, or will the next generation muscle their way to the winner's circle? This is round 18. This is Atlanta. This is Monster Jam. Nice air. And he saves it. There is your wow factor.
Big air out of the box. Awesome move, look at that.
Welcome to Atlanta Motor Speedway in the heart of Georgia. After a muddy round 17 here in Atlanta, the sun is trying to find its way out, but the rain could very well be on its way back. I'm Scott Jordan alongside Colt Stevens, and round 17 saw Tom Meents come away with a near-perfect event, capturing 35 out of 36 points while winning Monster Energy Racing and the Great Clip Skills Challenge. How difficult, Colt, is it as a driver to get that close to perfection, and can we see it again tonight?
Scott, it is extremely hard for a driver to pull off something like Tom did last round, but to do it with this caliber of driver is amazing. I think Tom's definitely going to have a little bit of luck on his side if he wants to do it again.
Let's take a look at the driver lineup. Colt, there are quite a few drivers who are skilled in the mud. Is that going to give them an advantage, and who might stand out to you?
I definitely think that will give an advantage here, but one person that stood out to me last round was Adam Anderson. He didn't win anything, but he threw a little bit of extra stuff out there. If he can put that all together, I think he's definitely the driver to watch.
One of the drivers competing here tonight is performing for his hometown crowd. I'm talking about John Gardner from Hiram, Georgia, about an hour and 20 minutes from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Now, he had the fastest first-round racing time in round 17 and then broke a third member in the truck. How frustrating must that have been for John?
That is extremely frustrating. As drivers, we always talk about the hometown curse, and unfortunately, that got John Gardner here last event. But hopefully that's behind him. He can move forward and have a great event here this afternoon.
For more from the driver of Bad Company, let's head downstairs to Leslie Mears with this UNOH pit report.
As Scott mentioned, John, you are so close to home. So how many people are here? Are you feeling the stress? What's it like to be able to compete so close to home?
You know, we have a ton of sponsors here and family members and friends. You know, they always say that there's a hometown show curse. It plagued us today. First round of racing, I had the fastest pass and the rear pinion broke. We got all that fixed, and then in freestyle, we had ignition issues from the rain, and we had power steering issues. So we're here, and we're ready to redeem ourselves 120% and put on a show for my hometown, Atlanta, Georgia.
Guys, he's got his chin up, and he's ready to fight tonight.
Let's take a look now at the Monster Jam Steel Titans 2 video game event breakdown. Our drivers will compete in 3 competitions: Monster Energy Racing, the Great Clip Skills Challenge, and Bkt Monster Jam Freestyle. 12 points will be awarded to the winner of each competition, with a total of 36 points on the line, and the driver with the most points at the end of the night will be crowned the overall event champion. It's time now for Track Talk, presented by Great Clips. And Colt, this speedway track already has a lot of challenges, has a lot of obstacles, and the mud adds to that. Now, the rain is holding off for now, but it could be on its way back. So do we expect to see another muddy round here in Atlanta?
I'm hoping not, Scott. It looks like the rain is holding off. Hopefully it can stay like that the whole event. But the track is kind of drying out. The dirt crew's been working really hard. One thing I got to say, though, is the drivers are going to have to be cautious, especially when it comes to racing, because they have all these race lane jumps. And if they land on a throttle and it gets a little bit tacky, they have the potential of breaking axles and third members like we saw in the previous round. So hopefully they can get it together and have a great show.
Let's take a look at tonight's racing bracket for Monster Energy Racing. Round 1, Megalodon versus Monster Energy, Wildside versus Zombie, Bakugan Dragonoid versus Monster Mutt Dalmatian Galaxy, Gravedigger versus Rage, and the first round buys Avenger, Bad Company, Max D, and Mohawk. Colt, which one of those round 1 matchups are you most looking forward to?
It's obvious, Scott. Megalodon, Monster Energy. You got 2 top dogs going head-to-head, first round, first race. I'm watching that one.
Adam Anderson this season, 12-1 against Todd Leduc. He has had his number. And here we go off the line. Adam gets a big jump, and here comes Todd Leduc. He got low, and that jammer going to be tough.
It seems like Adam got his wheels back to the ground a little bit faster. Oh, he's off the track.
Off the ramp. and Todd Leduc is going to win it. Well, let's take a look at the Super Glue to the Action replay. Let's find out what happened with Adam Anderson.
Both trucks get off the line pretty good. As Adam comes up to the jammer, you can see he comes down, catches a bounce, and actually heads off the track. That costs him. He has to slow down, get back on the track, and Todd was able to take advantage.
Our second matchup in round one, Barton Musauer in Zombie in the right lane. In the left lane, Zach Garner in Wildside. And Zach Gardner surprised a lot of people in round 17, making it all the way to the semifinals in racing. Zach gets a weird start. He started, then stopped, and started again. So Zombie with a jump.
Zach with a great thing over the jammer. Set the truck up real nice, but Barry's, whoa!
Zach Garner had a lot of ground to make up there. He got off the line a little wonky. Barry Musauer out in front. Zach Garner put it to the test in the straightaway and nailed it.
Well, it definitely shows if you can get over that jammer quickly, get those tires back to the ground, you're going to have a faster pass.
And now we move on into the round one bracket. It is Ryan Anderson and Bakugan Dragonoid against Lindsey Reed and Monster Mutt Dalmatian Galaxy. These two have met once so far this year. Ryan Anderson took the win. Here we go, off that single. Here is the jammer. Ryan, huge air. Lindsey, huge air.
Uh-oh, we got to watch that.
But he gets down first. She gets a weird bounce. And Ryan Anderson, that's the only opportunity he needs to take the win. Our last round one matchup, Kristen Anderson and Gravedigger. She's in the right lane. Corey Rummel in Rage in the left lane. And look at that big chunk of windshield cut out of Rage for Corey's vision. Here we go on the start. Kristen with a nice jump, but Rage so powerful, low center of gravity in that heavy truck. He gets over the jammer low. She goes high. A great run for Kristen, but Corey Rummel wins it. The power of Rage coming through again, Colt.
That was a great run by Rage. He got that truck down. Like I've been saying, if you can get those tires back to the ground, making power, moving forward, you're going to come away with the win.
Let's take a look now at the bracket for round two of Monster Energy Racing. It's Avenger versus Monster Energy. Todd Leduc with the fastest time of round one. Bad Company against Wildside. Max D against Bakugan Dragonoid. And Grey Clips Mohawk Warrior against Rage. Round one is done. Round two is on the way. And Tom Mentz looks to stay undefeated in Monster Energy Racing here in Atlanta. Max D heads to the line with more Monster Jam. Welcome back to round 18 of Monster Jam, the second of 4 rounds at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And round 2 of Monster Energy is about to begin. Our first match, 2-time World Finals Freestyle champion Jim Kohler up against 2-time World Finals champion Todd Leduc in Monster Energy. And Colt, even though Todd had the fastest time in round 1, Jim Kohler with that bye gets lane choice.
That's right, Scott. So that's very key here. This track can be different from lane to lane.
Off the line they go. Todd Leduc get over the jammer now. Jim Kohler as well. Kohler gets a lot of air.
Todd absolutely perfect on that jammer.
A great finish. Todd Leduc, though, the lower center of gravity on the jammer. The difference, Todd Leduc advancing now to the semifinal round. As we take a look at the replay, what a run for Todd.
Todd comes up to this jammer, jams the brake just right, lands on the downside, gets the power to the tires, and away he goes across the finish line first.
Next up in round 2, John Gordon in Bad Company. He is in the right lane. Zach Garner in Wildside in the left lane. Last round, John Gordon, as I mentioned, won his first round matchup, had the fastest time of round 1, ended up having to leave the racing bracket. We'll see if he can perform in front of his hometown crowd.
Oh, Bad Company going big.
Relay for Bad Company. That is going to cost John Gordon. And Zach Garner again will advance to the semifinals in racing. John Gordon with a great jump coat and then just skies it over the jammer.
He just had way too much going down that race lane there. That jammer, it jammed him up bad.
As we move on, Tom Mentz, Max D, our racing winner from round 17. He's in the right lane. Ryan Anderson in Bakugan Dragonoid in the left. This is a rematch from the finals of round 17 in which Tom Mentz won. Tom on the jammer first. He gets huge air. Ryan goes slow and low, but he's got to pick it up, and he will.
Perfect example right there, Scott. One driver goes big off the jammer. The other one stays nice and low and tight, and it paid off for Ryan.
And our final match in the semifinal round, Bryce Kenny, Grey Clips Mohawk Warrior against Corey Rummel in Rage. And Bryce Kenny a quicker jump, but he has to straighten himself up. So Rummel hits the jammer first.
That wheelie, though. Bryce is really having to drive this truck.
And Corey went off the track a little bit, and Bryce Kenny gets there. So again, the jammer, the difference. Let's take a look at the super glue to the action replay.
Watch Bryce come off the line, comes to this first jump, and then the truck gets real squirrely, but he's able to gather it back up.
Our semifinal round is set. Todd, Leduc, Monster Energy, Zach Garner, Wildside on one side, Ryan Anderson, Bakugan, Dragonoid, Bryce Kenny, Great Clips, Mohawk Warrior on the other. Cole, who do you think's heading to the finals?
I'm going to have to go with Ryan Anderson. He ran a 12.342. That's the fastest time today. I'm going to have to go with Ryan.
As we continue the bracket here in Monster Energy Racing, let's head downstairs to Leslie Mears.
Scott, you mentioned the hole in the windshield for visibility that our drivers are using here with the moisture in the air. But one thing people don't think about are the things they contend with inside the cab. So think about their gloves are going to get wet. So it's going to be hard to maneuver the rear steering and the steering wheel. Then their shoes are going to get wet. So they might slip around on the pedals inside. So they've really got to be focused inside the cab.
Thank you, Leslie. And you take all the elements that the track offers, you at least have to be able to see where you're going. So our first semifinal matchup is going to be Todd Leduc against Zach Gardner, and Zach Gardner gets lane choice here with a faster round 2 time. So a surprise there. He's going to get to put Todd wherever he wants him.
And I'll tell you what, Scott, it's pretty cool to see Zach Garner coming out here. This is only a second Monster Jam event, and he's out here playing with the big dogs and showing that he deserves to be here.
And Todd faster off the start, but we've seen Zach do some amazing things already in the first 2 rounds. We got a tight finish.
Oh my gosh!
A photo finish. We are going to go to the super glue glued to the action replay. From where I'm sitting, I think Wildside had it, but what's your opinion, Colt?
Man, that was a close one. I thought that Zach had a great jammer. I mean, he absolutely nailed it.
So I was wrong, and I'll be happy to say I'm wrong. Todd Leduc is going to be the winner. Todd Leduc moving on to the final round, the race of the day so far. Our next matchup, 2-time World Finals champion Ryan Anderson up against Bryce Kenny, Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. 5-2 is Ryan's record this year against Bryce. He's done very well. Bryce Kenny 1 racing win, Ryan Anderson with 5, leading everybody in this field. 14 competition wins, and we are off in the final semifinal matchup. There's the brake check working brilliantly for Ryan Anderson.
He absolutely has it dialed.
And Ryan Anderson is going to win. And, man, I feel sorry for Todd Leduc. I'm going to be honest with you. Ryan, as you said, has got it dialed in.
I mean, that is key right there. He's doing something different than every other driver. He's dragging the brakes up the face. So it's very abrupt. As a driver, you can feel that. So not only are your shocks bottoming out, but you're also adding the brakes to that. So he can definitely feel that. But he's taking the pain to win the race.
And Ryan Anderson now the fastest time of the round. The fastest time in Atlanta, I believe, 12.039. He will have lane choice as we take a look at our final matchup. 4 World Finals championships combined between these two. It's going to be Ryan Anderson against Todd Leduc. Colt, I need your pick right now, buddy.
I'm going to have to go with Ryan. Ryan has just been consistently fast. He's got the jammer dialed in. It's going to take a little bit of luck if Todd wants to take the win.
The 2 fastest in the field are about to throw down in A-Town. It's time for the final round of Monster Energy Racing. Welcome back to one of the fastest speedway tracks in the world, Atlanta Motor Speedway. And it's time for our Monster Energy Racing finals. It is Ryan Anderson, it is Todd Leduc. And Ryan, over the course of this round of racing, seems to really have the truck and that jammer in tune with everything he's been doing here.
Which I noticed that Ryan was doing that in practice. He was the only driver that was dragging the brakes at the face. Everybody else is kind of hitting the brakes in a straightaway, slowing down, and then jumping the jammer. Where Ryan is carrying momentum to the jammer and dragging the brakes up the face. So he's got that figured out. I wonder if Todd has been watching. Maybe his crew chief is talking to him, telling him what he needs to change. He's going to have to do that if he wants to beat Ryan.
Ryan Anderson with lane choice. Todd Leduc is heading to the left lane, which is where Ryan was in the last round. So Ryan Anderson picking the right lane for himself. What's going on there?
I think that he's so confident that he can beat Todd that he thinks he's going to throw him off by throwing him in the other lane. I don't think Todd has been in this lane yet.
All right, here we go now to the jammer. We'll see if Ryan does it. He brake checks.
Look at that, perfect!
Todd Leduc did it as well. And here we go, the push to the finish.
Ryan just ran away with it.
Unbelievable run for Ryan. Let's take a look at the super glue to the action replay.
Ryan absolutely gets off the line. It looks like he's not even lifting down the straightaway. Watch this right here. He jams the brakes, drags it. It's like the rear tires never leave the ground. Absolutely perfect execution. In Texas, we have a saying for that. Ryan just whooped Todd like a chicken in a hen house.
Ryan Anderson now on top of the leaderboard with his 6th racing win of the season, and he is downstairs right now with Leslie Mears.
Ryan, you really just seem to master that jammer and getting the acceleration. So what's your method to do it, and what's your winning ways?
It's so hard because at here, there's so much room at this speedway. The fans are out here braving the weather, so I want to give them everything I've got. But if you put the truck in the air, you're not gaining speed. You're going slow. So keeping the truck on the ground, capitalizing on the backside of that jammer, letting it boost me off for another start, that's where it's at. I want to jump it. I want to air it out. But if I stay on the ground, I know I'm going to be fast.
So Ryan Anderson getting 12 points with his racing win. We'll take a look at our first BKT overall event leaderboard. Ryan at the top with 12, Todd Leduc 11, Zach Garner 10, Bryce Kenny with 9, and Jim Kohler with 8, rounding out our first BKT top 5. With racing in the books, it was time for our second event of the night. Let's take a look back at the Great Clip Skills Challenge. Each driver had the option to attempt 2 technical maneuvers on 2 wheels or a donut. Competitors attempted a variety of moves and combinations and were judged based on creativity, skill, and execution. 12 points were on the line towards tonight's overall event championship. So let's take a quick look back at our top 3 competitors. Ryan Anderson, so good at this competition, 6 wins on the season. Slap Wheelie City for him. He'd finish in 3rd.
He knew it was dry there, hit the brakes, caught it, used the horsepower to get the truck up in the air. Great job.
In 2nd, it was Tom Mentz and Max Dean with an incredible cyclone.
That's a 2-wheel skill if I've ever seen one. He's up on 2 wheels.
And in 1st, the surprise of the night, the 20-year-old Zach Garner with a popper nose wheelie combo. He would take the win in the Great Clip Skills Challenge.
I know one guy that's super proud, and that's Jamie Garner. He's out there somewhere with a big smile on his face right now.
After his first competition win in Monster Jam, we're going downstairs. Leslie Mears is with Wildside Zach Garner.
Well, this is a huge one for you, Zach. You know, how are you able to pull that off, and how does it feel to take one away from these veterans out here on tour?
It honestly feels amazing. I'm absolutely on cloud 9 right now. I am honestly at a loss for words, but I can't thank the guys back there in the pits enough. Big A, Steve, and honestly, my dad for giving me this great, amazing piece I'm in.
After 2 competitions, let's take a look at our BKT overall point standings. Zach Garner, Wildside, Ryan Anderson, Bakugan, Dragonoid at the top of the leaderboard with 22 apiece. Tom Mentz with 16. And Team Scream teammates Corey Rummel and Jim Kohler have 15 apiece. That's our BKT top 5 after 2. 2 competitions are through, 1 still remains. Right now it's time for our official Monster Jam halftime report. Everyone in Monster Jam is proud to be partners with St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Become a partner in hope and receive a custom St. Jude and Monster Jam We Won't Stop t-shirt. Text Monster Jam to 785-833 or visit stjude.org/Monster Jam to learn more. Welcome back to Monster Jam. This is round 18 in Atlanta. I'm Scott Jordan. He's Colt Stevens. Ryan Anderson starts the night off by winning Monster Energy Racing. But in the words of Frankie Valli, oh, what a night for Zach Garner. Wildside wins the Great Clip Skills Challenge. He's now tied with Ryan for the overall event lead. What a story it would be if Zach Garner can walk out of here with the event championship.
Scott, I am so impressed with Zach Garner. He is absolutely putting on a show, a clinic out there. Being the young guy here, only his 2nd Monster Jam, and being able to pull off 2 two-wheel skills moves like he did. How awesome. And we still got freestyle to go. I know his dad has to be extremely proud of him, smiling ear to ear. He's got some big shoes to fill for freestyle, though, because these are some good drivers.
The pedigree there from his dad. Freestyle still to come. We'll see if the kid from Fortville, Indiana can pull it off. And Leslie caught up with Zach Garner's dad, Jamie, in this UNOH halftime report.
We're used to seeing Jamie out on the track, but tonight it's all about being a crew chief for your son. And so what are the words that you have to describe the feelings of seeing him go out there and put on a show and take the win in skills?
You know, as a parent, you get nervous, you get all worked up. I mean, I'm more nervous for him driving than it is when I'm driving on my own. Watching him make it to semifinals in racing is amazing. The kid can drive, there's no doubt. And then well, he's like, Dad, I'm gonna try this. And I'm like, buddy, it's too muddy. You ain't gonna be able to pull it off. And he's like, Dad, watch, I will get this. And he got 2 poppers, right, back to back. So, I mean, it is amazing. And for a parent, it is unreal to send him. This is his 2nd, basically, stadium style show. he's used to doing arenas. So unbelievable.
Throughout the season, we've been highlighting some of the most popular WoW moves in Monster Jam. And Colt, this round we're focusing on one of your favorites, the donut.
Everybody loves a donut. I love doing a donut. They're wild and crazy, spinning so fast, and sometimes you even get a cyclone up on 2 wheels.
For more on the art of the donut, enjoy this edition of Inside Monster Jam. The superstars of Monster Jam are always finding new ways to reinvent the sport by executing technical moves that will wow the audience. To find out what these maneuvers are and how drivers pull them off, this is Monster Jam Lingo. Today we'll look at the donut. And Barry Musauer hitting a donut here. A donut is when a Monster Jam truck uses traction and speed to achieve a tight turning radius in a circular motion and maintain it for a good length of time or a certain number of revolutions. So how does a driver do that? Let's break it down. There are 2 factors that a driver must consider before attempting this maneuver. The first is the amount of traction that day's track will yield, which can vary depending on whether the dirt surface is tacky, loose, wet, or dry. The second factor is how much grip the truck's lug pattern will give them. The aim of a donut is to get all 4 tires to break traction with all wheels turned so that the truck spins into a donut. At the outset, the driver will use moderate throttle while turning the front and rear wheels. Once the truck begins spinning, throttle pressure is gradually increased to sustain the revolutions. When the rear tires break loose, the driver will give the truck full throttle, lifting 2 tires off of the track, creating what is called a cyclone. Big time cyclone for Tom Mance. To complete the move, the driver lays off of the gas, then applies the brakes, resulting in a successful donut. With the art of a donut, this has been Monster Jam Lingo. Still to come as the final competition of the night is Bkt Freestyle, and it's next on Monster Jam. Welcome back to what's been an action-packed round here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and now our final competition of the night is here. Now, the track is much larger than a normal freestyle track with 20 obstacles, and we watched some drivers take nearly 2 minutes to get across the entire track. So how do you make the best of your time when you have all that space?
You got to be wide open, Scott, from start to finish. You got to go as fast as you can. You got to get from one end of this track to the other, hit anything in front of you. That way you can get a high score from these fans.
The track conditions will be the ultimate X factor, so let's see if the drivers can bring it. It's time for Bkt Monster Jam Freestyle. Each driver has 2 minutes to put together a spectacular performance. They will be judged both by fans in attendance and by a Monster Jam judging official. Our drivers will be judged based on creativity, momentum, the use of all obstacles on the track, and their ability to fill the entire clock. To qualify for a score, drivers must complete the first 30 seconds of their run. These superstars will have their endurance pushed to its limit as they defy gravity in these 12,000-pound steel titans. With the overall event championship on the line, expect to see big air, backflips, technical moves, dynamic saves, and those incredible wow moments that have made Monster Jam a worldwide phenomenon. This is Bkt Freestyle. Our first competitor out on the track is ready to go, and it is Zach Garner in Wildside taken to the track. So this young man at the top of the leaderboard with Ryan Anderson has his work cut out for him. He has got to be nothing short of spectacular right now to have a shot at winning this thing.
You know, normally I would say being first out is a disadvantage, but one thing, we see these clouds rolling in. It could rain, so he might be one of the only drivers to get the opportunity to drive around on a dry track.
I'm going to try and keep my momentum up, get some big, huge air, and just honestly go out there and have fun. I'm really on cloud 9, so no matter what happens in freestyle, I'm going to be having a great time.
Zach Gardner now straightening up. He's going to head on over to the backside of the step up. Some huge air, shades of his dad, Jamie, the driver of Overboard. Zach Gardner has to light it up here for the fans in Atlanta. Now over the bus car stack as well. Slap wheelie on the backside of that landing.
That's very steep.
Sky wheeling now for Zach Garner. Lands
Nice.
awkwardly on the back right tire.
What I like about that is he was able to downside that. It was a nice transition. It wasn't a hard landing on the rear of the truck like I thought he was going to have.
As we mentioned, a lot of obstacles out here to choose from. You have 2 backflip ramps. We'll see if Zach Gardner takes advantage of that. He's got something on his mind. He is going to line it up here for the Monster Energy backflip ramp right out of the gate in that first spot. Skies it. Lands it on the bounce, and he's going to go over. He's got a shot. Just could not clip that front tire to get the save, so he landed the backflip on the front two and goes down. Talk us through the super glue to the action replay.
Zach comes in here, had a nice backflip going, just couldn't quite get it down on all 4 tires, over-rotates, gets a little extra bounce, and that puts him over on his lid. I was hoping it would rotate a little bit more where the front tires could get a bite and maybe get it back to all 4 tires.
Bryce Kenny, Great Clips Mohawk Warrior coming in, hits that step up, big jump there for him. Over the car, Van Stack now sees the bus in front of him. He's not quite square, still gets over the left side. And Bryce has this line. He has taken a straight line here, just hitting everything. Sky wheelie there for Bryce Kenny. It's been effective for him so far.
I like what Bryce has got going here. I wish he would just pick up a little bit more speed in between obstacles.
Squares it back up, now hits the ramp. Gets out of the way of the backflip ramp, just missing the backflip ramp. That was close.
I thought he was gonna get it.
I thought he was getting it too. That was close. Now back over the bus for Bryce Kenny. So goes back down the way he came, just hits everything back going the other way. And he's going deep now for the bus.
There you go. Come on, buddy. Air that sucker out.
It's too much water. He's skidding all over the place. A lot of time now coming off the clock. That's the price you pay for going that deep onto this racetrack.
Yeah!
There we go. Clearing the bus. Huge air, getting a nice bounce on the side of the jump.
There you go. Come on. Yeah. Liking it. We're starting to see some more air out of Bryce. He's on the dry side of the track. Right through the puddle. Watch this.
Huge air now for Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. And a wheelie on the landing. Let's take a look at the super glue to the action replay as Bryce Kenny continues to jump out here on the track.
Bryce did good getting from one end to the other, hitting almost anything that was out in front of him.
Kristen Anderson in Gravedigger is now on the track. Gravedigger 34, still looking good after 39 years of competition.
Got a whole section there, Scott. She kind of just drove past everything. Whoa, that's what she was looking for.
Huge sky wheelie. And of course, next year we celebrate the 40th anniversary of Gravedigger. Dennis Anderson founding Gravedigger 39 years ago. And next year also the 30th anniversary of Monster Jam. So 2022 going to be huge.
Seems like it's very slick down there, Scott. She chooses to go around the jammer. Going for car van car.
Now she's got the square lane again, straight lines it up over the bus and the cars as well, clearing it perfect on the landing. 2 freestyle wins on the season, one big one in Jacksonville in the Stadium Championship Series. She goes sideways on that jump, clipped the back left tire. It pushed the truck all the way to the left. So Cole, celebrating that anniversary next year, brings me back a lot of memories. When's the first time you ever remember seeing Gravedigger?
And I was traveling the country with my dad when I was just 2 weeks old. So, I've seen Gravedigger, I would say 1988, 89 would be the first time I've seen him. I've seen him and I don't even remember.
I was 7 years old in Baltimore, Maryland, the first time I ever saw Gravedigger compete at the Baltimore Arena. Dennis Anderson got a chance to meet him in the autograph line, a huge thrill. At the time, I thought Dennis Anderson was like Hulk Hogan. Kristen Anderson spins Gravedigger back around. She goes back over the bus.
You gotta watch, she drove through that water that makes the tires even more slick.
And that is going to end her run. Let's go to the Super Glue to the action replay here for Gravedigger.
Kristen's out there. She's putting on one heck of a performance. She got from one end of this track to the other. It was almost like watching her dad out there. Great run by Kristen Anderson.
And here comes 5-time World Finals champion Adam Anderson in Megalodon. Got a great jump, some big air there.
Ooh, he felt that one.
Look at that landing. Gets the left side of the truck all the way over. Ends up landing it perfectly on the NASCAR track surface here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Sky wheelie now for Megalodon. Nose wheelie on the far side. And now he's slowing down with 89 seconds left on the clock.
Guess we're taking cover because of lightning.
All right, we're in a shelter delay here due to lightning in the area, so Adam Anderson will get to rerun his freestyle when the event resumes. As the sun starts creeping back out here in Atlanta, we hope to get back to freestyle. And some of the highlights of a great freestyle run are those big air wow moments, but it's a risk-reward situation for drivers as sometimes the trucks don't want to cooperate on the landing, and Barry Musauer fell victim to that a few rounds back in Tampa.
Yeah, Scott, the landings can be tricky, and Barry lined up Zombie for a big jump with some massive air.
Zombie came out big at Raymond James Stadium, taking it as far as he can go, skying it out of the stadium, landing awkwardly, snapping the front axle like a toothpick.
Barry broke absolutely everything on that housing. That part that broke is actually the axle that holds the tire on. That's some half-inch steel that broke in half. That just proves how big Barry went on that jump.
Barry Musauer leading Zombie Nation and delivering the Monster Energy action of the week at Raymond James Stadium. And we are back now. Adam Anderson, first out in Megalodon. He will get over the bus, barely getting over the bus.
Oh, Adam's got a little bit of a disadvantage here. We saw that rain come, and that track is slick again.
A 5-time World Finals champion. He has got a lot of speed and a lot of length on the track. The mud not stopping Megalodon.
He's on a mission. He's getting so much speed out there. He got off on the concrete. He's like, I'm going to use this traction I can get right now. Keep my momentum going. Look how slick it is. He is just spinning and spinning.
He has got the front wheels all the way turned, crab walking, trying to get enough traction. He does get over the ramp.
Uh-oh, he's going right into the back.
And he locked up right up on the backflip.
He's still got that broke axle in the rear, or a third member or something is very weak. That rear end is just not pulling, and that's definitely going to be a disadvantage in this mud.
So Adam Anderson will complete 30 seconds of his run. He will get a score. Not the way you want to come back into freestyle for Megalodon. So a frustrating end to Adam Anderson's night here in Atlanta. With a muddy freestyle competition, not every driver was able to make it to the top of the leaderboard. So right now, let's take a look at some of our lower performing trucks. Barry Musauer and Zombie just couldn't navigate the track. He'd finish in last. And Lindsey Reed, Monster Muck Galaxy, unable to crack the top 5 as well. John Gordon in Bad Company, that hometown curse hitting him hard. Corey Rummel in Rage, no Extreme Air from Mr. Extreme Air tonight. And Ryan Anderson in Bakugan Dragonoid, a rare appearance in the bottom 5. Let's catch you up on our current Bkt Freestyle top 5. Zach Garner in Wildside currently holding on to that top spot. Bryce Kenny in second, Kristen Anderson in third, Adam Anderson in fourth, and Corey Rummel in fifth. The stakes are high and the event championship trophy awaits in winner's circle. Who will take it home? Find out next when freestyle continues on Monster Jam. Welcome back to the exciting conclusion of round 18 in Atlanta. Before we continue with our freestyle competition, let's catch you up with the current Bkt overall point standings after the first 2 competitions. Zach Garner and Wildside, Ryan Anderson, Bakugan Dragonoid, both tied at the top of the leaderboard with 22 apiece. Tom Mintz with 16, Corey Rummel and Jim Kohler each tied with 15, and Todd Leduc with 14, rounding out our current overall Bkt top 5. Here's 12-time World Finals champion Tom Mintz and Max D. And he wastes no time getting over the bus. He gets some big air down on the nose. Back 2 tires flip up, and he is on to the right race lane. And this track, Cole, it's an animal right now. Just an animal in itself. It's the 13th competitor here. We've seen this a lot over the course of the season, but they are struggling right now to keep these trucks lined up right.
Yeah, so slick out there. It's a misconception. Everybody thinks we got big tires on these Monster Jam trucks, but they're flotation tires out there, so they don't get really great traction in this style mud. They kind of float across the surface.
And look at that spin out turn for Tom. He's got to keep it moving just in order to maintain that traction.
I do like the momentum that Tom is keeping, and he's just hitting anything he's got in front of him. It's one thing about these trucks when you're out there in this mud is sometimes they get a mind of their own. You can point it in a certain direction, but it'll start sliding the other way, and you just kind of got to go with it and adjust on the fly.
And speaking of sliding the other way, he is sliding towards the backflip ramp. He is going to avoid it for now and jump over the car stack, lands it great.
Look how far in advance Tom has to turn the truck. He's sliding a good 10 feet after he starts his turn, so he has to be aware of that, know where he's at on the track, that way he can adjust for it.
24 seconds remaining on the clock.
Ooh,
There's some big
big
air
air
for Tom Mans. I was going to ask if we would see some big air with the track being this way. Tom just answered that question.
Another thing, too, to think about, Scott, is the rain has kind of washed away the paint, so I didn't even see that jump there. It all blends in. It all looks like Georgia clay, so hopefully the drivers are out there. They can see the jump without the paint, and it doesn't sneak up on them.
Oh, big splash there to end the freestyle run for Tom Mans. Let's go to the super glue glued to the action replay.
No, we may have had a rain delay, Scott, but Tom Mintz wanted to give the fans that stuck out a show, and he definitely proved it out there with one heck of a freestyle in this wet conditions.
9.317 the score for Tom Mintz. He is the new leader, so Zach Gardner now dropping down to second. Two-time World Finals freestyle champion Jim Kohler, Avenger, is locked and loaded and ready to go. Up over the pod, little cross-threading, straightens it back up on the way down. The van stack now for Avenger up next. The bus sits in front of him, but he can't get it straight, so he's going to spin around.
Yeah, using the berm, smart move. Like I said earlier, he's kind of moving backwards, so he used that jump to slow his momentum down and continue moving forward.
You got to have quick reactions. Anyways, a Monster Jam driver, but on a track like this, it's Jim Kohler and over M with some big air. But on a track like this, you mentioned you got to give whatever the track gives you and react in a split second to make it work.
It's all about setup, Scott. You got to try and set that truck up for what you're going to do on the other side. So if you're going into a corner, you got to know, okay, I want to hit this point in order to get here. Hopefully with the slide, that'll all work out.
And Kohler just climbed over that bus, just climbed right over it and back down. No air whatsoever, but made it over anyway. Tenacity at its fullest force here for Jim Kohler.
You hear how Jim is kind of just staying in the throttle. A nice, smooth throttle, not wide open crazy, but he's just staying right there, trying to stay at the same RPM. That's a good move. That keeps the truck from spinning so much. You're a little bit more in control. It's not getting quite so upset.
Able to get some air off the left side pod. Now comes back for more. 20 seconds remain on the clock. And Kohler now trying to just get back onto the track. Will climb over one more ramp, and that will do it for the two-time World Finals champion. So Jim, makes the best of it, gets everything, gets centered, gets squared, gets cross-threaded. Our final competitor in Bkt Freestyle, two-time World Finals champion Todd Leduc, Monster Energy. He won freestyle here in round 17. Now has to be Tom Mintz to take that title here in Atlanta for round 18.
Choosing to go over on the concrete, try and get some traction.
4 freestyle wins on the year for Leduc, more than anybody else in the field this season.
I'll tell you, Scott, when you're moving that fast right there, the scariest thing as a driver is just shutting the truck down, making sure you can stop without sliding too far.
And we see Todd coming in hot on a lot of different surfaces, a lot of different tracks. Weather doesn't seem to affect him. Track conditions doesn't seem to affect him. He just wants to go fast, but at some point the track is going to push back.
Last event, Todd was able to come away with the freestyle win, but one of his strategies was to use the dry race lane. The track crew put down tarps on the race lane so that the race lane stayed a little bit dry. Unfortunately, with this rain, there was 0 tarps out there, so this track is 100% wet all the way across the board.
He is getting some steam there, some speed on that race ramp. And now just flipping it around, smoke coming out of the back rear side of Monster Energy. And now he's on the asphalt surface, so he's got to maneuver himself back on the dirt track.
Todd was able to complete a backflip earlier round, and I wonder if he's thinking about doing the same thing here.
He is going to try it. This is going to be a muddy backflip for Monster Energy's Todd Leduc.
Uh-oh.
And he's got to get it just a little bit.
The truck shut off.
They shut you off? Shut me off! Like right as I hit. They didn't shut you off. Dude, I was gonna land it too. I'm so sorry, dude.
But unfortunately, that hit seems like it shut the truck off, and he wasn't able to make the save.
How does a hit shut the truck off?
They're abrupt, Scott. One thing I can tell you is hitting those containers, it's like hitting a wall, literally. So if you have an electrical issue, it's going to show its face when you do that.
Let's take a look at our Bkt Freestyle top 5. Tom Mentz going to win it. Great run for him. Todd Leduc finishes in second. Zach Garner in third. Bryce Kenny fourth. And Kristen Anderson and Gravedigger finishing in fifth place. Another competition win here in Atlanta for Tom Mentz. Let's go down to Leslie with a 12-time World Finals champion.
It was a tough one for you to take, Tom, because we had a delay and you had to take a little bit of time out of the truck and you were strapped in and ready to go. So how were you able to refocus and keep that, Max D mentality that you have to take the win?
Team Max D and I run on adrenaline completely. When I saw the fans come back in after the lightning delay, that adrenaline filled me up. Adam went out first. Unfortunately, he didn't get it quite done with some breakage. But when I saw all those fans come out here, I'm like, that's what we're all about, is entertaining awesome fans.
Zach Garner, the overall event champion. Let's take a look at our final BKT overall leaderboard. Zach getting the win. Tom Mentz will finish in second. Ryan Anderson in third. Todd Leduc in fourth. And Bryce Kenny rounding out our final BKT overall event top 5. And with the third place finish in freestyle, that means our event champion is a first-time event champion, Wildside Zach Garner. Let's go down to Leslie.
What a fantastic night for you, Zach, as not only do you pick up the skills challenge win, but you pick up the overall event championship. Did you think that it would happen this soon in your Monster Jam career?
I really didn't think it would happen this fast, with this only technically being only my second stadium show. I got one last year in the Arena Championship Tour, but this is absolutely unreal, and I cannot thank you guys enough.
2 more rounds remain from Atlanta Motor Speedway, which means more excitement, more action for Colt Stevens and Leslie Mears. I'm Scott Jordan. Good night from Atlanta. We'll see you next time on Monster Jam.